Hey guys, it's your best boxing friends. I'm Kelsey. This is Rachel. Rachel, there's only one Tyson Fury, they say, and there's also only one Otto Wallin, who cut Fury in the third round of what turned out to be a really good fight on Saturday in Las Vegas. Hurt Fury in the 12th round, but Fury ultimately won the fight on the scorecards. Really excellent fight. What do you make of Fury's performance, Rachel?
Fury just shows like his grit, determination, heart, and he got into a bad situation. Either, like you had brought up, that maybe he didn't take the beginning of the fight that serious, like was letting rounds go by, or sometimes just something happens like a cut, and then all of a sudden you're in a different situation than you were like previous to that cut. And definitely once the cut happened, he was in a very different situation. Very lucky that he's one of the heavyweight champions of the world, because there is a situation or a time when a fight would be stopped due to a cut like that.
He's more lucky that he's got a $100 million contract with ESPN. He's the money man for that network's interest in boxing, and he's a heavyweight champ. Right, most ringside doctors and some referees would have stopped that fight. They definitely, my opinion is, they definitely would have stopped that fight if that thing's been the other way around. If Otto Wallin had a huge gash on his leg, they would have stopped the fight. However, the optics of it from an entertainment standpoint were excellent, right? It was a real life Rocky situation. Otto Wallin came into the fight, cut Fury, like we said, in the third round, I think it was. And then Fury, because of the cut, a huge gash on his eye, has to come forward and fight and try to get Wallin out of there before they stop the fight. Now, they didn't stop the fight because Fury's excellent performance. He stayed in the fight. He couldn't see out of his eye. When they asked him if he could see, he told him he could see. The optics of Fury overcoming, yet again, a difficult situation in a fight on TV, that's great for Tyson Fury's career. And I think it makes the impending rematch with Deontay Wilder that much bigger.
Yeah, and I think it also, like, this had the potential to go down as like a throwaway fight, right?
Yeah.
That nobody cared about, like who's Otto Wallin. I don't even know how to say his last name. Like, he had that like kind of feel about it. And after his previous fight being against Tom Schwartz, who was also, we were kind of like, okay, Fury, like what's going on here?
Yeah.
But this ended up, as can happen in boxing, like it just ended up that like if you like grit and kind of raw, physicality, like this was that fight for you. And it was heavyweights, and Fury has a way of fighting, and I thought Otto was a good opponent. There are some heavyweight matches where they're kind of slow and lumbering and kind of harken back to a different era. And I appreciate those, but I really like the way that like Fury boxes. Like, I like this style of like heavyweight division that is like maybe a bit more traditionally athletic,
He's definitely an athletic big man for sure.
So it just had like a different feel about it. And, obviously this was a great showing for Otto Wallin.
Yeah, wins for everybody. Otto Wallin definitely, there were wins all around, right? Tyson Fury won. ESPN won. I thought the referee won because he made the right decision. Ringside Doctor won. The fans won because it was a great fight. Otto Wallin won because, hey, I want to see Otto Wallin fight again. I thought he turned in a great performance. I thought he lost most of the rounds, but he did cut Fury over the eye, and he did hurt him, and he kept trying to win the fight. There's a guy that I think was a little better than people thought he was, but still has a lot of room for improvement. He's a young fighter. I want to know, Rachel, how do you see this affecting your viewpoint on, and if it did at all, Fury's rematch with Wilder? Because to me, my whole thing since the first time they fought, as far as Fury and Wilder go, was that Fury's a lot better boxer, but he'll have to be perfect against Deontay Wilder, or Wilder's going to hit him, hurt him, and stop him. That almost happened in the first fight. He had to rise from the dead, essentially, in the 12th round to win that fight. And here again, against Otto Wallin, not perfect. If that's Deontay Wilder who cuts you over the eye, if that's Deontay Wilder who hurts you, I say that more likely than not, he's going to stop him. And I want to know what you think about that.
I feel like that's all reasonable. conjecture. Is that
Am I the smartest and the best? What?
But I also think that the fight showed us that like you can never count out like Tyson Fury.
Right.
He's got like he persevered through that fight, and that is a huge. I mean, that's just a really admirable quality in anybody to be able to persevere and not give up.
You can't quantify that, really.
Yeah, because like when you look at it, Fury, like he's heavyweight champion of the world. He went in like the huge favorite in this fight. He had a huge cut over his eye. He could have said, I'm not going back out after like whatever round he wanted to say that at. And sure, like the other guy, because of the way it was scored, he would have got the win. And it would have been a loss on Fury's record. But we all know in boxing that we look at some things and we're like, well, that's not really a loss.
He could have been like, oh, that was from a headbutt. It was from a headbutt. You know, he's got this loss on his record now, but I want the rematch. I'm sure there was a rematch clause because he was the huge name fighter against a virtual nobody as far as mainstream boxing goes. But he didn't do that. The grit, the determination, first of all, to come back from his mental health stuff that he came back from, then to do that in the fight against Wilder, against a knockout puncher like him, and to do it again in this fight in a different situation. That's hard to fight through a cut. We've seen him in all these difficult fights. You've seen him in other fights too, where he will come and he's got that tenacity, that inner courage that is just a wonderful thing to see, and it's pretty rare. So yeah, because
specifically like in a Wilder rematch, I don't think the perseverance, the grit, the determination, the heart, like it's not quantifiable.
Yeah.
In that, like I don't know. So like yeah, there's a rematch and it seems logical. Like it does seem like Fury has to like almost be perfect. Definitely has to do something defensively because you don't want to get hit by Wilder.
Right.
You know, by like that punch that is gonna like, you know, knock you next to your grave. Like you don't want that. But it's hard to like for me to predict somebody like Tyson Fury what's really gonna like happen because of this like X factor, let's call it that, of what Tyson Fury brings to a match.
Well, I love X factors. You can be the X factor in your life by liking, commenting, subscribing. Void were prohibited.
Okay.
What?
It's never void. Well.
Yeah, void were prohibited.
If
it's prohibited,
sometimes your comments are.
If you're in some kind of weird country where they prohibit you by law from liking, commenting, subscribing, definitely do not do that. We don't want to put you in harm's way because we're your best boxing friends. We love you. Thanks for hanging out with us. Can't wait to see Tyson Fury fight Deontay Wilder. Again, I have no idea who's going to win that fight, but I'm so happy it's going to happen.